Welcome to Maths Live. So today we're going to be looking at scatter diagrams 2. Okay, so this morning, welcome. We're on to Friday and we've got a couple of days to go for the weekend. So we'll be having a little break there for Maths Live. Okay, so I'd like to say good morning to everybody. Lydia and Alfie, good to see you this morning, and a few others will be joining us shortly. Okay, so on Wednesday we were looking at scatter diagrams, getting ourselves started off. And I was just going to do like one session on scatter diagrams, but actually it's clear that we need an extra one. All right, so I'm going to post up again a few messages, before we start this morning. I'm going to post up next week's theme. It'll be sort of late Sunday night when I post those up, or even Monday morning first thing. So keep your eyes open for them. Just to run through the times for next week. So it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as I'm in school on Tuesday. So looking forward to that already. Now I just want to show you something. If you're watching these podcasts all the time, all right, you can see that we're getting through an awful lot of work. Can you see all those sheets that I've done already since we've been locked down? Now, actually, I reckon that there's nearly, if you just studied all of these topics, there's nearly enough there to get a grade C on intermediate. So keep watching, folks. It should be really, really helpful. Okay, so study the sheet in front of you before we start. And just to get us going, something that is absolutely remarkable. I hold my hat out to this guy. Okay, so Captain Tom, take it away.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and sweet silver song of your laugh.
Okay, thank you to Captain Tom this morning. Absolutely tremendous chap. For what he's done so far and the money that he's raised. So that is number one at the moment, I believe, that song. So look out for it. It is on YouTube, and maybe think about a donation. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so we're looking at scatter diagrams too. Now, before we start, I want to just give you a little bit of a recap on what we learned on Wednesday. So if we have a look at this diagram here, okay, what are we saying on this diagram? All right, just a little I can focus on there. So we've got algebra scores linked with number scores, and what we found here is that when we plot the graph, it makes a straight line. It's not quite a straight line because you can see some points are below, some points are above. But overall, the trend is a straight line. Now, when we get the ruler on here, okay, you can see that we've got some points above, some points below, and the idea is to match the same number of points above and below. Okay. Now, also something really important to notice is that we're not starting at 0, 0. In fact, if you start at 0, 0, you've probably made an error. Okay, so the line starts or hits these axes, and dependent on how these points are positioned. Okay. All right. Now this is your independent variable. This is your dependent variable. So this is the one that you can change and vary, and this one depends on what's happening here. But sometimes it's not clear, and you have to read the question really carefully. You probably wouldn't lose marks for that. It's one variable plotted against the other. Okay, so let's just have a little recap on what we mean by positive correlations. So if we have um, a scatter diagram looking like this. Okay, this is going to give us a correlation. Okay, so what I want you to think about here is, okay, so we're going to have hours training. Oh, training. Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't spelled that very well. And let's just rub that out. Hours training. This is football. Goals scored. Now, these are really close. They make nearly a perfect line. So, what is the word? I want you to type this in, please, folks. What is the word to show that that is a really good correlation? I nearly said it then. So, a really good correlation. The points are very close to that line. What is the word we can use for that? It's a positive correlation. Notice how I spell correlation. Two R's. Okay, but there's a word here I want you to write in, see if you can remember. Alright. So well remembered, Lydia. Alfie, you've got the positive, that's good. But the word that Lydia's used is also strong. Okay, strong. So as opposed to this diagram, okay, you don't always need that word there. It depends what the question's asking. These two here are the most important. That's where your marks are, but sometimes you might get asked for that. So, and it's worth us covering. So if you have a look at this, you can see there is a line there, but compared to that, it's not as clear. There's just about a line happening. Put a few more points in. There's just about a line happening there. So what's the reverse of strong then? It's still a positive correlation, but it's going to be a weak positive correlation. I nearly wrote week as in days of the week, but it's not that. W-E-A-K. Right, so what else have we got then with correlations? There are some other options. Okay, so haha, week with an A. Thanks, Lydia. Um, okay, so another type of correlation that I'm going to draw here. See, they're going upwards in an upwards direction, meaning as you practice, this goes up. But there's other types of correlation where it goes down. Okay, so with this situation, if we plot the points, you can see the line is going in a downwards fashion, like that. Again, we're not starting at naught. That just doesn't come into it. Okay, so this could be a negative correlation. And I think what I'd write here again is it's going to be strong because the points are close to the line. Okay, if I was going to use a strong or weak term as well. Okay, so I want to give you a second to think about what these variables could be. Okay, think of something that would match that. You don't need to write it, just have a think. Is there anything you can think of that would match that? So I've got one. It could be like a typical evening when you're at school. Okay, Xbox hours played versus maths test score. So have a closer look at that and see if you think that would happen and why. So what's going on then with this negative correlation? Well, what's happening here is that pupils who play lots of Xbox games the evening before don't do very well in the maths test. They're not very high up in the maths test. pupils who don't play Xbox very much the night before get really high marks. So this is a classic sort of example of what can happen. So what's happening here is the more hours of Xbox we play, the less your test scores are. And that makes sense because while you're playing Xbox hours, other people who are not playing Xbox hours, so they're down here, they're revising. Okay, so that sort of thing can happen as well. Now there is a third scenario. Remember, you've got a weak and a strong negative correlation too, but there is a third correlation. All right, and it could look something like this. And this can happen in GCSEs. I've seen it quite a few times. You're more likely to get a positive or a negative correlation, but I have seen this happening as well. So basically, all the points that are plotted are completely random. Okay, so let's have a think about what this could be. Something totally unrelated. Okay, books read. Okay, how many books you've read altogether compared to let's see, um, packets of crisps eaten. So they're not related at all. The points are all over the place. Okay, some people have read very few books, eaten very few crisps. Some people have read very few books, eaten loads of crisps. Some people have read loads of books, not eaten many crisps. Some people have read loads of books, eaten loads of crisps. So they're not related. I can't put my ruler and make a line anywhere. So this is a no correlation. And as I say, this sort of question can happen in GCSE. Just because there's no correlation there doesn't mean you won't be tested on it. And I think you're more likely to get something like this, but I've seen that GCSE exams, even higher level, intermediate and foundation, this topic is on all three. Okay, so that's correlations summarized. So I want us to have a look at this question now. Okay, we've done that one already, so we'll have a look at this one together. Okay, so we've got the car age versus the costs. Okay, so thinking about the x and y axes again. All right, so the car age influences the cost. So this is the independent variable, this is the dependent one, so this one's going to go on the x-axis. And as I say, if in doubt, okay, it is important to get it right, but you're probably not going to lose marks on it if you do get it the wrong way, if you show that you've got a correlation. But try and do things correctly. So the one that can change and vary is the x-axis. The one that's changed dependent on the other one, the other variable, is the y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to go for cost here. Another little hint about that is that the first category in the table is usually the x-axis. The second category is usually the y. So there's another little hint to get that right. So yeah, cost is y, car age is x. So we mark those on. I've gone one indent in so I can put my numbers on. Now I'm going to look carefully to see the biggest value of the car age. That one there, number 10. Okay. So I need to, my axis needs to go to 10. So put the numbers in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, they're just going on the line, not in between the line. It's not a bar chart, on the line for those points. And then you've got cost, again, per thousand. So put thousands there for the axes. Again, up to 10. So that's quite handy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, before we start plotting these, have a think. If your car's old, is it worth much? If your car's brand new, is it worth much? So you should have an idea of what should happen. It doesn't always happen, okay? Doesn't always happen. I've just highlighted the two highest so I can do my graph and my scales. But look at the first point, 4, 6. Remember that we're plotting these like normal coordinates. 4 along the corridor, 6 up the stairs, 4, 6. Plot that point. And this really, once you get to this stage now, it's just a matter of plotting points, plotting coordinates, something we do in year 7. But hang on, loads of people make mistakes on it. Be strict on yourself. Along the corridor, up the stairs. Okay, it's so easy to get that the wrong way around. Okay, even I've done that in mark schemes, and you know, you've got to be really careful about that. 8, 2. These are not in order as well. Something else I didn't mention yesterday. You just plot them. They might not be in order. You might get your biggest values there, or your smallest, or your biggest in the middle. You just plot them like normal coordinates. 2, 9. 1, 10. I just whiz through them now because you should be able to plot points like this. 5, 4. 9, 1. 10, 1. And 5, 3. Okay, so this is how I predicted. Alright, so that line, if we go try and put our ruler on, just wiggle it about a bit, definitely going that way. Remember, when we're trying to do this now, I'm going to try and get as many above the line as below the line. So I've got sort of 3 above the line there, and kind of just 1 underneath there, just so it's about there. Now you've got to be within a certain tolerance to get this correct, but there is a bit of variation on the mark schemes. Okay, that's not too bad. You've got 2 clear ones below, 2 clear ones above, and the others are close to the line, so that's pretty good line. All right, so number 4, we've already learnt this. Negative or positive? Okay, what do you think? Write it in. I'll ask you. I'm going to ask you to type that in, please, folks. Okay, we've got 6 viewers at the moment, so good morning to Ben White. He's joining us. Borodar Ben White. We've also got Miss Wynne. Mrs. Wynne, well done for having a look at this. Good morning, Borodar, Miss Wynne. And who else we got? Lydia Monks. Borodar Lydia Monks. Okay. I've not seen Lydia Rumsey this morning, but she's normally around. Okay, so Borodar to those people. Okay. So have we got any answers coming through? What sort of correlation is that? Type your answers in now. That looks like a P, that does there. Put that as thousands. That should be thousands. And yes, you're correct. It is a negative correlation. There we go. Alright, draw a line of best fit. We've already done that. And then number 6, use the line of best fit to estimate a cost of a car that is 7 years old. So we'll just do this to finish off. So we find 7 for the age of the car. Oh, but that's the beauty, that's the power of these scatter diagrams. You can use them for predictions. So it's not just about whether you spot a pattern or not. You can make predictions. So suppose I've got a 7-year-old car and I just want to work out what value it roughly is. Matches up my car, to be honest. This does. That's about that. My Golf. So 7-year-old car, what we do is find 7. Follow the line to follow this line upwards to our graph line, our line of best fit, and read off the value. So that's 3. But remember, this is in thousands, as is in the table there. So that's going to be, we estimate that about £3,000. Probably about right for my Golf, actually, because it has been used. Nice and works really well at the moment, but that's probably quite accurate. Maybe worth a bit more, I'd hope, anyway. So that's it, folks. That's correlation, scatter diagrams, all linked together, all in one. So just go through the key findings, and we'll finish off there. So the key parts of the lesson. The key parts. So first part we summarized what type of correlations we can have. So we've got positive. We talked about the word strong and weak. We don't always need strong and weak. Okay, it depends on the question, but it's good to know about the strong and weak bit. We talked about those. We talked about negative correlations, the lines going down, and we've talked about no correlation, that can happen. Then we've worked on this worksheet. So last lesson we plotted the points and did that one, and that question there, number and algebra were linked. The relationship was a positive correlation. As the number test increases, so does the algebra. And I put strong in there. I suppose I could put the word strong in here. Then we've worked on a negative correlation, plotted the points, the lines going down. So as the car price increases, the value of the cost of the car goes down. Okay, so that's a negative correlation. And the last thing is we can use the whole graph at this point, the line of best fit. You can use the graph to make predictions. Okay, so yeah, and remember that we don't need to go through 0, 0. In fact, we shouldn't be going through 0, 0. Chances are, if you've gone through 0, 0, you've probably made an error on this topic. Okay, right. Last question. Okay, this is just for fun. All right, for this morning. The start of today, I had various items on the desk. Okay, can you name some of those items? There was 6. Okay, type them in. Yep, number 1 was a pen. Anybody else got any answers? Type them into the comment part. Yep, that's correct. Another answer coming in, ruler. Okay, rubber, yep. All right, keep them being typed in, coming through. Yeah, thank you. Pencil, sharpener. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. These come in with a pack. Pencil, yeah. It's just come through. And the last one was a notebook. Okay. Right, so these things are essential items. And the other things is to keep an eye on, or make sure you've got compass, protractor, little pencil. There we go, that's your set. Okay, so keep those up to date, please. Don't lose them, and don't forget you should be having a calculator added on top of there as well. Brilliant. All right, thank you for typing those in, folks, and just leave you with Major Tom. Okay, please support that cause if you can, and also remember Monday is live maths. Okay, I'll post up the topic on Monday. I'll leave them there. I'll post the topic on Monday morning, first thing, 10 o'clock. Okay, we'll do something good for that, and have a nice weekend. Okay, Diane, au revoir. See you on Monday.